Hey guys, give you all time to get over the ads and things. Sorry. Hey, Mike from Cornwall. Thanks. Adam. G'day. Pleased to hear the new job's going good. 624 Dudley. G'day. Thanks for your note on my YouTube video. It's awesome. Chirps. G'day. Wazza. Hello. David Ian Sykes. Hello. Mark Osborne. G'day. Kim Bazelic. G'day. Peter Nottle. G'day. Stuart Ingston. G'day. Nothing to report. That's it for me. I'm out. No, I'm kidding you. It's cold. That's one of the things. I've actually got my good hoodie on, which is not good in the workshop. But anyway, I left my jumper at work. Anyway. I don't know what else there is to report. I had a tea and biscuits. G'day. I had a ongoing fiasco for 3 weeks or something, for 2 weeks at least, for an express post. We have this thing in Australia called express post. Now, all your Australians know about this crap, right? It gets this yellow ticket on it, and it used to be overnight, right? Send your useless junk to this address, by the way. Nowadays, it's not overnight, and it's not even close to overnight. It's pretty useless, really. But they used to guarantee it overnight, next day. So if it wasn't next day, you used to go in with your receipt, and they'd give you a refund on it. I'll give you a voucher for next time, which was a pretty good service, really. Anyway, since COVID, which is the excuse they're still using, like 2 years ago, I don't know however long it is, this is no longer overnight. It's the fastest service, but it could be 3 weeks, as this is evidence. 26th of the 5th, this was delivered. Except it wasn't. Right? It wasn't. Someone had signed for it in my name on the 26th, and that was the next thing we got. Now, apparently they've missed one line out here, and I don't know why, because the information I got from the post office had the extra line on it as well. It was Town Centre Drive. PO Box 3681, Town Centre Drive, Helensvale. However, I'm going to have a rant about this, sorry guys. The post office boxes 0 to 3,000, so to 2,999, are at the Helensvale LPO, which is across the road, and boxes 3,000 to 6,000 are at the Town Centre Post Office. So the electronic sorting machine should be able to work this out. But 2 weeks later, I was still chasing this, and this morning I went over to the LPO to find it, and they wouldn't give it to me before work and all that sort of stuff. So I really I was pretty annoyed, and I went back to the Town Centre Post Office and said, you better fix it. So 11 o'clock, they'd fixed it. So I got my parcel, but I already got one parcel because I didn't think this one was actually coming. Anyway. Hey, David. Hey, Craig. Good to see you. So that's what it is. Anyway, you've probably already seen this. I have to think of a use for this now. It's all wrapped up nice anyway. Guys down there know how to wrap stuff up. I feel like if this was worth more than like the money it is, I would take them to court over this because they're really hopeless and someone needs to at some point. I don't think I want to be that person, which is a very Australian thing. Anyway, if anyone's interested, it's a book of variegated silver leaf. Look at that. How nice is that? It's called Dragon's Breath. It's a variegated silver. Comes up nice. Anyway, I've got a book and a half of it now because I didn't use quite a book on the last one because these are bigger squares than gold leaf. Anyway, that arrived, which is pretty nice. 2 weeks late. No, I didn't sign for it, so I guess no one knows I've even got it. I'm just wondering whether I can be bothered pushing it through and seeing if I can actually get something back out of it. I don't think I can because they're pretty watertight. They made $109 million last year out of not shipping parcels on time, so it's going to be very difficult to get anything out of them. What else have I done? Don't know. Fair bit on the harmonograph. Quite a lot on the harmonograph, actually. I've still got lots to go, lots to do, and I've got to find some timber and stuff to do that, and I've got to find some like table hardware or make some, and find some screws. A bit of a whinge about screws, to be honest. There's the next. I'm in a whingy mood, right? Sorry, I'm in a whingy mood. I dropped that one. Did a Mr. Pete. I'm not even going to pick it up. I'll just sweep it up and put it in the bin. No, it's not going to be like that. Brass wood screws, right? Roundhead brass wood screws. Here's a whinge, right? This is from the local hardware store. And it's all very well. But give me one reason you would buy this screw above, say, an ordinary tech screw. Of which there's probably 1,000 of them here. Right, this one. Why would you buy this screw above this screw? Right? This one's steel. It's easy to put in and out. It drills its own head. You don't have to drill a hole for it. You're not going to damage it. Why do you buy this screw? You buy this screw for looks. And then in their wisdom, look at this. Can you actually see that? There you go. Some idiot makes these with a crosshead so that they don't even look good anymore, right? And they don't look traditional. They just look crap. So not impressed about that. I had to order some off eBay. So at some point, someone will stop stocking these because someone stopped selling these, and the reason they stopped selling them is they're really the one job that they had they don't fulfil. So not impressed about that. That's the second rant. Feeling better already. Yes, you put them in corrosion resistance, but honestly, if corrosion resistance is the issue, you buy stainless steel ones of these, don't you? Or galvanised ones. You don't mess around with brass. So the only reason you buy those is for looks, and they don't even look good. So there you go. I found some Heritage Furniture Supplies guy on eBay and got 20 of them or something for $3. So I'm onto that, and they'll be here. They hold the This is becoming quite a thing, actually. There's bits sticking out of it everywhere. But they're going to bolt these down, which I'm really pleased about. These have come up pretty nice. So this must have been like a proper bronze and not aluminium bronze, because it did silver solder. So I'm pretty happy about that. It's gone in there really nice, held together. So there's two of them. Got to make them. Still got to finish the other one. Take care. New Prime Minister hasn't come back to Australia yet, so we can't rant about him. Take care, Mike. Anyway, a bit of work in these, a lot of work in these actually, but they're coming up all right, I think. I'm pretty happy with that. So the other thing, we've got junk over here everywhere, sorry. We go over here to the lathe. Rotate device, rotate device, rotate device. Sorry guys. We'll get comfortable here in a minute. This is the other thing I've been messing with. Hey Kevin. Not even very seriously messing with it, right? I got some castings made for this years ago, about 4 years ago, something like that. Might not be that long, but it feels like it probably could be. And it was a bit preemptive, really, because never really had a proof of concept model or anything else, or I'd sort of drawn it up and it sort of worked, and I really didn't know how it would work on the machine or anything else. Hey, Fridge. So after I'd drawn it up a little bit more conclusively and managed to sort of get some things that looked like they were going to work, I 3D printed it, and this is what I got. How cool is this? Nice compact little device. It's not quite finished. It's got to have bolts here to hold these together, like with a turnbuckle style thing across here and across here. I'm not sure whether I'm going to go 1.10" on here, the same as on the back, because honestly, it's probably solid enough to hold a big chuck. I don't know. I really don't know. The 6-inch faceplate, maybe it might be solid enough to hold a 6-inch faceplate or a chuck. I don't think you'd put an 8-inch faceplate on it. There's too much wobble. But it seems like it might work. So I don't know if anyone's even a little bit interested in this, but it's pretty cool. We might turn some lights on here. I don't know if that helps anything or not. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to nip a finger. It seems pretty... It's actually a pretty good thing, because your chuck's out here, so you're this far behind. I could do them 3/4 National Fine, the same as the Sherline chuck, and put that on there. That might be a really good idea too. Unfortunately, because this doesn't go right through, I can't put collets in it. But if you put the little Sherline chuck on there, that might be really nice, because that's about the limit of its work, I think. This has a particular function and an unusual function, and it does actually work, which really impresses me. just for proof of concept. A bit double-sided tape and a bit of aluminium sheet. Move this up here. Put pen on here somewhere. Right. There you go. That's what Shape It machines. This is going to be cast iron and bronze eventually, but for plastic it's kind of not really doing it. It's just to see if it actually works and everything clears and everything works and everything fits together and there's not going to be too many issues and we're not going to machine too much off and make it too tight or too loose. But that's what this does. Like that. So it's an ellipse turning attachment. Hey Raymond. So what it does basically, and the way it works, and this, I don't know if I can even explain this particularly well. Right. If we look at the edge here, hold the pen close to the edge, and look at this here, what you find is that in the vertical orientation, this is pretty close to center. And if you turn it half a turn, it's exactly the same on the other side. So basically, but in the horizontal orientation, it's that way. If you turn it half a turn, it's still that way. So what it's doing is bringing the work closer on the slide at one point than it does at 90 degrees out. So basically this cam at the back moves this across. Now it's got two slides in here on keys, here and here. Art that makes art's got it all sorted out. Excellent. It moves the work off centre twice in every revolution. That's exactly right. Thank you. Thanks heaps. Okay. One thing that I can think of that will certainly be used, we'll use this for, is probably radiator caps for the 1/3 size John Deere. Yeah, it's very useful to be able to have ellipse-shaped things, I think. And seriously, clown wheels too. Clown wheels. Absolutely. How much? About 2 to 1, I think. All right. Manhole covers, another one. Rossnax has got it. Handhold doors for boilers, yes. This works at about 2 to 1, is about the most I can get on an ellipse. Now, I believe that this could be modified a bit to be better than that, and I think the prototype might be better than that. It's got a slide in here. We might dissect it and sort of show you how it works. Now we've shown that it does work. Badge plates. How many this is pretty solid, Adam. I'm a little bit impressed with it. I've had this running at 500 RPM, the plastic one, without any problems at all. And it seems to like it. I'm a bit worried about doing it for too long because heat exchange is going to get some problems, but it's got a bit of oil on it. It's nice and compact and it's nice and sturdy. This dovetail in here is pretty strong. Like, this is the biggest dovetail than in the lathe. And the cam offset adjustment isn't as good as I would like. I think that's a weak spot. these slides in bronze on steel, like if these fingers here were steel and this is bronze, or gunmetal, I think if these were a decent steel and these fingers were bronze, I think you could probably get away with 500 RPM without any problems at all. Ford logo, yeah, that's a fair point. No one would want a Ford logo, but apart from that, it's got this cam that bolts on here, right, with 2 bolts and fancy wing nuts or something on each side, and that offsets. I don't like this much. I've got a casting made to make this, but I had wished that I'd made the casting with a leg down here with a bolt, and that way you can retain it back up against here with a bolt in here and loosen these off and swing it backwards and forwards and measure it accurately, rather than when you loosen this off, that just falls off, see? I don't think that's a really good answer. So a 3rd leg on here with a bolt hole in it would be the best, I think. But that gives you some idea, sort of the offset you can get on this. Mostly because of the diameter of that outside there. So to my mind, it seems pretty good. These slide like this, and this one slides like this. It's actually a whole lot better than I expected, to be honest. Let's go over the bench and pull it apart and see how it looks. So, yes, it'll adjust the ratio of the oval. That's right. So, adjusting this cam backwards and forwards, right, back into the centre on this side, and it turns pretty well concentric. In fact, the drawing has provision here to put a couple of tapered pins in here to lock it on centre. And there's really no reason, if you did lock it on centre, probably why the thing couldn't sit on the lathe sort of permanently, but I don't think that's really an option. It's very easy to dismount, as you can see. So back on this side, and everything runs concentric. Back on this side, it's out a bit. Now, a bigger diameter on this would be nice, and that way you can get a bit more, like a longer ellipse. But I'm still thinking about this. I've got castings for this piece. I've got a casting for this, which is in iron, and probably, it's not bad as it is, but it's not perfect. Another casting probably with a leg on here for a bolt, so that it swivels like that and doesn't have too much twist in it, and it might give it a bit more confidence in it. So at this point, we'll see. I don't know if anyone's really interested in this odd beat sort of crazy. That'll hold it in place horizontally, exactly. Crazy odd beat sort of equipment, but it sort of interests me a bit. So there's 2 gibs in here. You can tell I cleaned the workbench because all my Allen keys are back in the right spot. How good's that? So I've just found some bolts for these. I haven't really gone into trouble to get any actual bolts for it. Just what I had kicking around. Because it really wasn't going to be a deep dive. So just probably a cast iron gib. One each side. And you probably could scrape these and get them all running nice and everything smooth and sweet without a lot of backlash or anything. So 2 gibs, just a tapered gib, pretty straightforward. These slide on here, right? And they're probably not going to have a bolt like this because it'll come loose, but they probably have a stud locked in here, and then they'll have a nut on here and a lock nut and a washer. So these have just got a slot in them, a groove, and then there's two little keys, square keys in holes here. So that's what makes that turn. These are probably going to be spring steel, and I'm going to put a bolt between here and here just to retain all this. Now the reason that these isn't a full circle, and this took a little bit of nutting out, is because these holes in here are slotted. This might come off without taking that other one off. It's not going to. But they're not particularly tight. There's the other shoe, and then this comes off fairly simply. And these are slotted for wear adjustment, so you can undo this and this moves backwards and forwards. Give it a little bit of movement here. Yeah, see. And this is whatever thread the chuck fits, basically. So that's that. And this is just an iron casting with square cutouts to fit the dovetails and the surface for the dovetail to slide backwards and forwards. And these cutouts here, of course, are for the fingers on each end. So that's how that works. So very cool pile of bits now. Yes, absolutely. It'd probably be safer on a milling machine, but we'll see. Chirpy don't sleep, that's right. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Adam. I'm not sure. Interesting. So that's kind of how it works. I think it would work very comfortably. I'm not sure it's really... I guess it is a simplified Eureka tool and with an index on here. And I'm sort of thinking out of the box that what this really needs, right, is 2 plates in here that swivel so that this part and this part are separate so that these turn together with a worm and a and an index wheel. So you can turn this, or even just an index pin. So you can turn this, say, 20 degrees or 50 degrees or 45 degrees or whatever. And then it would do the same thing as a Eureka tool, which is a form relief tool to make a cutter, if anyone doesn't know what a Eureka tool is. If this had an index in it, then yes, it would work like a Eureka tool. But a Eureka tool works on the tool post to do the same thing, whereas this works with the spinning tool and it moves it offset. So yes, an index on here would be fantastic, and then you could do a row of ellipses, or you could do like a molecular pattern or something like that if you really wanted to, but there's not a lot of use for that. Maybe there is in ornamental turning, but I'm not sure. I know I'm not heading down the ornamental turning sort of rabbit hole. So you know that. Just to be perfectly clear, no, I'm not. This design come from as a sketch. Hey, give me a second. I was going to do this. I was going to be all organised, but hang on. I'm going to go and grab the book. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm back. I had the book out. Look at this. So there's that bit. And the main faceplate. And the slide. Which is all a bit oversized. And the slippers. Thanks for that. Evenly spaced things around the ellipses, yeah, they're all things that you work out as you go along. Now, the whole Rose engine thing is a bottomless rabbit hole. Awesome machine. Really would love a replica of a mahogany English Rose engine, even to build a copy. However, the budget to do a nice one is exorbitant, like it's seriously scary, and it's not something you ever get finished. It's one of those projects you think, well, I'm going to get it, make it, or buy, or get, or obtain, or mess around, or sort of fiddle around till I get something that works as a start on a Rose engine. But unfortunately, it's a project you never, ever, ever finish until you die. And even then it's not finished, and you've got all these weird things like this sitting in the cupboard that no one knows what they do. And are not particularly useful to anyone. So the whole Rose engine thing is just a ornamental turning lathe thing is just a bottomless rabbit hole that, honestly, when you do get to the bottom, there's like 2 vials, and you drink one or the other and you get bigger or smaller. And kind of Wonderland's just through the little door if you follow the rabbit. Anyway, not going to happen. But this might be cool. But this book, fully illustrated, this book, not particularly well illustrated, but it is fully illustrated. Amateur Mechanic and Work Handbooks by Castell, I think. Morrison Walker printed in Australia by Morrison Walker. I think it's a Castell book. It might not be. I might be wrong. Yeah, Castle. The Simple Lathe and its accessories. It's a very cool book, right? There's a lot of cool stuff in it. And a lot of fairly useful stuff in it. But it's all 1920s, right? And all a bit vintage, and there's a lot of really spring winders, overhead drives, milling attachments, pots, spindles, that's the thing. Centre grinding attachments. See that? Centre grinding attachment? Not convinced that's a good thing. Internal grinding attachment. Grinding attachment lathe on pot spindle. Elevations of overhead drive. Look at that. For ornamental turning and that sort of stuff. Gear cutting. Back in the day. Gear cutting attachments. Back in the days when slides actually had like crank handles on them. It's a long time ago. Rests. All those things. But in this book, right, which I come across years ago. Hey, Matt. Yeah, I'm going to go and check out Art That Makes Art. Thanks for checking in on that, because you're currently following the rabbit. That's right. Anyway, in this book is this sketch, right? It's as clear as mud, this sketch. See, really, really a fairly poor sort of a solution. And it's only, if we look at it, it's only that big, right, in the little book. And it says figure 52 and 53. It's figure 52 and 53 and figure 53A, which is that one there. And 53 is that one, and this one's figure 52. And that one's 53A. Elevations and sections of chuck for oval metal turning. There you go. They're words to inspire and live by. Elevations and sections of chuck for oval and metal turning. So when I saw this about 4 years ago, hey Journeyman and Randy, I thought, how on earth does that work? It's pretty sketchy, really. Not really getting it. Not giving me a lot of, I mean, this top elevation doesn't give me a whole lot of information at all. Pretty sketchy. And this front elevation is a bit sort of obscure as well. I can see 4 set screws for Gibbs, and there's sort of see there's the 2 holes there for the dowels for aligning on centre. It's got these 2 bolt holes. It doesn't show that they're tapered, but I worked that out afterwards. It's got 2 holes here for a Tommy bar. There, see, so that you can get the thing on and off the lathe. But it's got a bolt and a pivot, and I missed that out because I thought, yeah, I don't know if it really needs that. But it does, I think. So here's this cam piece here, and then there's a... Anyway, I catted this up and ended up with sort of an idea of how it works. From this book to this is probably about 100 hours. As far as if you include printing and stuff. There's a fair bit of work in getting this to this point so that you can actually see how it works. And to the point that you can draw a circle on a... For those who come in late, is an attachment for turning things that are this shape. So, if we're interested. To get from the drawing in the book to this has been a fair way. Anyway, we've got this, which is gunmetal casting, which would make the slippers probably. And we've got this, which is gunmetal casting, which would make the slide in the middle. Bronze, I think that is. Probably be fairly nice, actually. We've got in there, machined that up. I've got this, which needs a fair bit cut off the back, and it needs a thread in the middle of it, and it needs cleaning up in the middle, and it needs some holes and cleaning up on the outside. It's not a huge job to finish that part, but the rest is a bit of work in. To find some cast iron bar or some spun bar to make those. And I've got this, which has to have that oval hole in the centre and a couple of bolt holes. But probably not going to machine that. I'm probably going to mess around with the pattern and modify it so that we can actually... I did know, Chirp, last time I did castings. Face knurling with that attachment will create some pretty cool patterns. That's very true. It's kind of could be pretty exciting. A little more shading in the ortho will go a long way. Yeah, it's atrocious. The drawing's basically useless. Because anyone who bought this lathe, right, or anyone who bought this book, there's absolutely no way in the world they were going to set out and make one of them or buy one of them, right? If your first lathe looks something like this, right, or like this, or like this, or like this, or like that, or any of those, there's a pretty good chance that this wasn't even on the horizon. And so there we go. I don't think that anyone made one of these, and I'd be very, very doubtful whether there's actually another one of these in captivity. But it was in this book. Look, I talked to my foundry man. I said, I want something that runs nice on you. I want some nice cast iron. I want something that runs nice on cast iron. So that's what I got, hopefully. Haven't got a clue what it is. Not sure I've had this one digitised. It'd be really nice if I did, but I don't know if we did. We may have. If I have, I'll find a copy of it. But it might have been digitised. I think someone did do it for me. I'm not sure. I ought to look in my... see if I can find a copy of it. It might have been another one. There's quite a few books in that series. Chirpy has a scare. I'll have another look for it because someone asked me about it the other week, so probably I should make a bit of an effort to find that. It's a while ago, I promise. So there's some really interesting machining there, and it's kind of a job that I'm a little bit enthusiastic about, but I've got other things to do. And it probably won't progress much further, but I do have a working prototype, and I've sort of got a drawing that I can follow to a certain extent because all the bits fit together. Art that makes art, hit me up on Discord or chat somewhere or Facebook or wherever you happen to see me, or Instagram or whatever, and I'll see if I can find a copy of it. It's Tinker scanned it. That's exactly right. I do remember now. So I do have a copy of it. I should be able to locate it reasonably easily. See what we can do. Link to it up on Discord would be cool, but I think I've got it. Probably it's in my drive. I would say my Google Drive, so I could put a link up as well. Anyway, this might work, right? And it might work much better than I thought it would, to be honest. I wasn't all that particularly confident about it when I first saw the drawing. I thought, yeah, it might work slow speed if you're lucky with, in wood. But it looks like it's a half sort of decent design that might actually work. I don't like this, and I would very much like this to have sort of a lug on the side here for a bolt, but I'm going to have to rethink that through. Take care, Matt. Oh, it's you. Yeah, right, Wes. I'll find you a copy of that. Sorry, I got mixed up. Oh, hi, Wes. Now I know who I'm talking to. That's much better. Yes, I'll find that. Check out Wes Pilly on Instagram or YouTube or anywhere else. Have a look at his channel and all the cool stuff he does. I know he's well down that rabbit hole, and he's the person I probably think about when I think about people who start off with basic Rose engines and end up the other end of the scale. It's a sickness, apparently, and we believe, we believe in you. You can overcome it. Now we've got a face to the name. We know who that is, so that's awesome. Thanks for tuning in, and same for all you guys. Thanks heaps for tuning in and listening to me dribble about stuff, because that's all I'm doing. It's just hot air. ClickSpring obviously had enough budget to run to a decent Rose engine, which is nice, I guess, in a straight line engine. But other thing is that if I had $100,000 to spend on a machine, I wouldn't probably buy a lathe with it. Not a straight line engine or a Rose engine anyway. And that's kind of what they run to. And if you build a replica, build a replica Holtz-Apfel, right, that was any good, and there's ways you can do it much cheaper, of course, but if you do the maths on it, that's exactly right, Craig. There are things that you could do much better with it. Well, maybe if that's your thing, but very easily get away with $20,000 or $30,000 to build a Rose engine, like even a basic Holtz-Apfel replica. There's $5,000 worth of brass in it to build a basic machine. And there's a lot of expensive castings, a lot of mahogany or rosewood or whatever you want to go with. And it's just, the sky's the limit. And then you need a couple of thousand hours to get the thing working. So not going to happen for me. Sorry, guys. Not going to happen. I did buy the Lorch originally with the intention of putting those sort of attachments on it, and we're sort of getting there. I mean, this is one of them, which probably is going to work. And it's got a thread cutting attachment on it. It's got a few other things, but this is a fairly basic design. Chauvelin made one for the 102 and for the 70. If you look on the Chauvelin pages, you find that. If you really look, but that's oil bath and it's a little bit more complicated and it's good for the speed of the lathe, which is probably 2000 RPM. So, and it's precision adjustable with the micrometers and everything. So it's a pretty deluxe sort of a little box that goes on the front of the lathe. This is nothing like that. I'm very, very unlikely to have over 100k too, so there we go. Anyway, so that's the ellipse attachment, and probably it's kind of a viable thing. I don't know, it might actually work at some point. These castings have been sitting here for a couple of years, and I haven't really got into them. I mean, you could set this up in the lathe and bore it out and put a thread in it. I could do that now and put it back on the lathe at the right distance and machine the outside of it up, and then set it up on the rotary table and put some slots and things in it, or in the mill, and machine the outside and put some holes here. That's not much to that. This is sort of the same. You can set it up in the forge iron and you machine a thread on this. But then you've got to sort of set it up this way and machine these, I guess, and take the bottom off here. There's still a fair bit of sand on these. And make it the same width and the same. It's got to be sort of down to about half that weight, I think, if you look at the other piece. It's quite a bit lighter. Then these bits have got to be made out of steel. They're not the world's simplest little constructions. These bits will come out of here probably okay. And this is going to be a fun thing to machine, this one. Yeah, Dan's having a... It's State of Origin tonight, so Dan's having a late night, I would imagine, until the footy's over at least. Don't know how that goes. Does anyone go to Stan Summer Bash? I wish I could. Ask Stephen Lang's on his way. I got an email from Dale Derry asking who was going, or who's sort of wants to help fill in the commentary, and it should be worth tuning into, absolutely, because it's Dale and Stan. But honestly, I'm not going to make it, and I can't see myself making it next year, to be honest. We're a long way from anything. I don't know about Keith. Keith Rucker, I believe, is going to be there. Who else did I see? There was a bit of a list anyway. Journeyman Randy obviously isn't. Wish I could. I really wish I could. I sort of missed that. I'm not sure about Blondie Hacks. Blondie Hacks is moving. They're moving back to Canada, I think. Not sure that's common knowledge. Maybe she has put it up on a channel and I missed it. But I think they're moving away from California and back to Canada. So, yes, I'd like to. It's pretty awesome. If no one else turns up, it's a pretty awesome swap meet because there's always cool stuff to buy. It takes some spending money. But apart from that, I'm going to stick here and mess with projects and probably get out and do things in Australia this next coming year because I haven't done that for a long time. We'll see how we go. Anyway, that's what I'm messing with. In particular, this crazy monograph, which I'm really enjoying. Got to get a pair of some timber and some other bits for that. Find some weights. I don't know. Find some decent something to make some weights out of. I haven't really decided what yet. Weight for each one. I don't know how complicated. Aussie Bash is an awesome idea. We're all too far away, and people, while it sounds like a good idea, when it actually comes to putting a few days accommodation and an airfare and things like that together, when everyone else is doing it, it becomes a bit more complicated. So that's a little way off. What I do want to say something about, right? What I do want to say something about is that there will be a tool making challenge at some point. Hey Brendan, good to see you. There will be a tool making competition at some point, or not even a competition. There will be some sort of a tool making event. Before the end of the year, with 3 months' notice to make a video. There you go. That's right. I've got it sort of formed up, and I need to get onto that pretty quickly. But it should be pretty exciting, and I'm excited about it. I've got some pretty good ideas, I think, that will sort of include. I've got an idea, I think, that will include everyone because a lot of people are like, "Yeah, I'm all for that," until something actually happens, and then I'm not so all for that because I actually got to get up and do something. So Chirpy was thinking about it too, but we had a bit of a talk, and I've sort of come up with something that's going to be pretty cool, I think, and I'm pretty excited about it. Whether it's going to be a competition, whether it's just going to be like a freight's expensive, especially international freight makes everything prohibitive. It's a problem. I actually was talking to Myford Boy, actually, through a couple of emails for something. You don't want to know about that, and freight come up. More of that in due course, but freight came up, and freight is a bit scary internationally, so I don't want to ship parcels or prizes or anything. Might be fun anyway. I've got something sorted for that. What are the rules this year? No, I've just got a. There's one parameter, and it might be fun. I don't know. I think everyone will be inclusive. I think you can twist it to include yourself if you really want to compete. So there we go. We'll see how it goes. But just got to work some stuff out, and you expect an announcement before the end of July. Expect the announcement before the end of July. Probably before that, but that's 6 weeks away. Post from UK. Yeah, it's a bit silly at the moment. An announcement on the parameter before then? No, you can't. I might do a video about it at some point. We'll see how we go. But it should be pretty cool. It should be really good fun, I think. And it's open for artistic interpretation or actual practical precision interpretation or woodworking interpretation or anything. So a bit excited about that, and I think you'd all kind of, I think all of you could do something along those lines without any problems at all, and have a tool that's a bit useful in the workshop. That's most of the problem, is that people don't want to build stuff just to build stuff, which is fair enough. So that might be coming. That's something to watch this space, because it will be coming. I've had to think about that, and I've come to the point that I've sort of worked it out. Anyway, got to get the harmonograph finished. I want to get a bit more done on the thread cutting attachment, because I've got a few more bits to do, a few more bits there to do that. I really want to get the mill up and running and get the welder up and running. They're the two major workshop projects, and from there I can get the Stuart 400 going, I reckon. And after that we might work on a boiler for Princess Marina, but that's the next 12 months for me, without even starting on this rotten stupid thing, which may or may not work. I may never ever get that point. Anyway, so there we go. That's everything that's happening in my world. Really nice job from Russ. Now, who's put up videos recently? Chirpy put up a video about his hand plane he's built. Rustanox made a fly cutter. It was a really good job. I really enjoyed that video. There's a video from Dan Shed about the new sawmill, and about getting a steam ticket on the portable engine, and a few things like that. No, I didn't see that, actually. I must have imagined that. Didn't see one from Brendan either. Maybe I did. I didn't. Maybe I missed it. Did I see one from Craig? Don't know if I saw a video from Craig either, but Craig's finished his welding bench, which is pretty exciting. It looks pretty good. Probably Art has videos. I'm going to go and check that out. I haven't really seen anything pop up in my timeline, but maybe I'm just not looking. Don't know what that's done there. Sorry. Apologies for that. Don't know. Maybe I just zoomed. I did just zoom. Look at that. Who else is here that might have made a video? Put your hand up. I see one from Journeyman Randy. Anyway, I don't know what that effect is on that. Sorry about that. I apologise for that. Anyway, we'll put this back to normal, I think. I don't know what it's doing. It's Dream, that's what it is. We'll go back to normal. Not sure why they thought that was a good idea. Anyway, that's what I'm messing around with, and that's kind of what's happening. There's a bit of 3D printing happening. There's a lot of prototyping. There's some actual real making things like these, which are pretty exciting. There's some real machine work going on. There's a couple of Steam events too, sort of featuring in July. So there's a actual like directional sign for some steam engines. It's another project we're working on. That's pretty tidy. Didn't expect the red and the brown to end up red and brown like that, so I'm probably going to have another go at that. It's a bit boring, actually. We'll see how that goes. So that's another job that we did this weekend. Quick look at that. A bit of Clarendon on there with a bit of block. It really needs a shadow, but I'm going to change the block, I think, because I'm just not happy with that red. It's too red. Nice and shiny. Have a look. But anyway, that's work in progress too. It's looking good. Apart from that, the place is half reasonably clean. Well, workbench isn't too bad, I guess. I put a lot of stuff away. And over here we're messing on this pantograph, which is the harmonograph. Which seems to work reasonably good. So they're all just things we're messing around with. Not sure about this saw. Jury's still out on that. It's doing all right, but it seems to have developed brush and armature problems in the motor a little bit. I'm not sure why that is. And it seems to be a bit of a common problem for it. So I'm going to look for an issue, a problem, or a way to sort that. It's awesome saw, but it seems to cut out reasonably often. This bench over here needs a good clean up. That's what that needs. We've got extension cords there. We've got all sorts of junk over here on this bench. We've got a pantograph. We've got a hearth. We've got a Hotshot 360 oven. We've got a casting there for a bandsaw, which may or may not anything happen with. We've got a bit of aluminium there for a mill pallet for the Centec. We've got taps and dies. We've got all sorts of stuff in here. Some odd bits of thread and stuff. Awesome, David. We're going to check that out. Put up your Instagram tag and everyone can go and check that out. The stock rack's getting a bit full. I'm not sure if that was the ideal way to make a stock rack. And the little Centec needs some work. The Centec needs... It's your name? We'll chase that up. This bench needs lifting up one set of holes. And then my vacuum cleaner can go under this bench because right now it's about that much too high. So I need to lift this shelf and move them both up. And I need to get this off here onto the welding bench, which is the job in the next few weekends. Dan's coming up, so I think maybe when Dan gets here, I might get him to give me a hand to slid this across here and we'll knock it up and put it back on. Because it's pretty heavy. The stock rack is really not that good. Let's have a look over here. It's nice to have a welding bench to put the camera mounted to. This is all I've got, right? It's actually on 4 casters. It's half a sheet or 3/4 of a sheet of form ply with some shelves in it. Should buy a forklift, yeah. It's not that heavy if we're only just skidding it across here. This block of wood's for the camera clamp. It sort of got screwed on there very quickly at some point the other day when I needed a camera mount for the grinder, which is there. So that's what that's for. This top one up here has mostly tool steel, stuff like that. This is actually silver solder, I think. Stuff like that, it's in tubes. And then there's brass. I've got a lot of brass. Aluminium, steel, and sheet in the bottom. What are those tools near the grinder? The tools near the grinder, these ones? Morse taper reamers. They're sitting there because they could do with the touch up on the end. And I need to get over here, sit down at the grinder, put the other wheel on it, have a bit of a think about that, how I'm actually going to do that. But I'd like to get them all sharp. We'll see how that goes. Trouble is with sitting down at this grinder is that you lose a weekend very easily. It's just one of those things. You end up 4 hours later, you may have or may not have achieved something. So it's a bit of a time-space continuum trap, actually. It's good fun, and I really enjoy grinding, but you've got to sit down at it and get a comfortable seat and start into not be particularly concerned about time if you're going to sharpen things and get them right. But it's fun. I enjoy grinding. Apart from that, there's been a fair bit of like filey brass work going on. My bench, my vice is over on this bench, which isn't really ideal, to be honest. It's a bit of a stupid place to put a vice. It's not far enough forward, and it doesn't swivel. A swivel vice would be awesome. So a decent like toolmaker's vice or something like that swivels over would be great. And also a decent woodworker's vice beside it. So they're a couple of my dream things. I've got a woodworker's vice. It's still in Tasmania at Stewart's. It'll get here eventually. And I've got lights here, pretty good lights, because sitting down file under lines, you need good lights. Anyway, we must be getting on for time. That's what's been happening here. There's a lot of cool things that have been happening, and we've been making things, but got mojo back a little bit. For a long time I was thinking, yeah, I'm really nothing's happening. But, $50 in your pocket to spend on projects, and all of a sudden it gets a little bit more easy to make progress on things. I think that's the secret, and I don't know how you get to that point. One thing I have been doing is collecting up cans and bottles. That's terrible, isn't it? But getting to the point that there's a 10-cent refund on them in Queensland now. So I've set up the app and everything on the machine, and I work bottles and bottles here and bottles around the estate here. I tend to, because everyone comes to work and buys lunch, I tend to collect them all up and put them in bags and take them down twice a week, and that's building up pretty quick. So that helps too, but it's not a lot. Sometimes you've got to have fun with. You've got to do that. It's looking lived in. Yeah, it is a bit lived in, and I apologise for that. We're all over the place. There's projects actually happening, but the mill needs a clean. Dividing head needs putting away. I think I'm sort of done with that. I'm not sure. It's on centre height and set up there, so I really didn't want to put it away until I actually there you go. Until I actually finish all these harmonograph bits, because if I still got to make a new piece or drill something or put something in on centre, it'd be really nice to have that set up, and I think there is still some bits to do. The light's okay with this particular screen. The light's not particularly good on my phone. It's mercury vapor, which are all right. They're not real cheap to run either, but there you go. Anyway, I'm probably out. We've had enough of a tour of the workshop and stuff, and we've had a look at some projects, and I've got some cool feedback on the ellipse attachment, and I remembered that I actually had a copy of that book, so that's awesome too. Probably next week we might have a bit more progress on that. I hope. Anyway, I think I'm going to call that a night. It's an hour and 20 minutes, and I rattle on about things to do with lathes and things way too much. Apologise for that. Thanks everyone for tuning in. It's really very, very good to catch up with friends on Wednesday night and have you all tag along. There's lots to watch on YouTube, but I haven't really got through all of it. And there's not as much as I used to watch. I don't know, some of the big channels I used to watch that just don't happen. Anyway, anyone who left a comment on my videos too, I really appreciate that. There will be a video about a tool making event of some sort at some point. Look forward to that. You have to sharpen your presentation skills. That's the only clue I'm going to give you about the whole thing. I hope you're listening up, is that you'll have to sharpen up your video skills and you have to sharpen up your tool making skills. There we go. There's a loaded hint for you. But anyway, be kind to each other, and more soon, I guess. I hope everything goes okay, and hopefully we're going to have some projects finished at some point. Don't hold your breath. I'm out.